HorrorDeconstruction.
What's up, everybody? It's the HorrorDeconstruction. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, but mostly on YouTube. Give us a like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up for the show with your host, Comp and
Rampage in New York.
And today's film is...
Sound of Violence. Sound of Violence 2021.
Holy cow, I think Danny had some sort of accident with his brain. Sound of Violence 2021. Original title, Conductor. Ooh, Sound of Violence is a much better name. Alexis recovered her hearing during the brutal murder of her family when she was 10. Oh my god, they wrote a whole fucking thing here on the IMDb. Alexis recovered her hearing during the brutal murder of her family when she was 10. The visceral experience awakened synesthetic abilities in her and started her on an orphan path of self. Get the fuck out of... A girl only gets off by listening to sounds.
A formerly deaf girl who goes on a killing spree after witnessing the murder of her family.
Thank you. Is that from Wiki or something?
That's from Wiki, yeah.
Thank you, Wiki. Whoever fucking wrote this whole shit on IMDb.
Who does write these things? Is it the director?
I think it's somebody with the film. Directed and written by Alex Noyer, starring Jasmine Savoy Brown, Lily Simmons, and James Jagger.
Wow.
So this is a movie that I picked.
I
didn't even
that's
say
like Mick Jagger's cousin or something.
While I explain why I saw this movie, Danny, you check that link I just sent you in our chat. So don't say what it is, though. Don't say what it is. Yeah. But so I picked this film because I saw the poster for it and I saw the trailer for it. I was still actually surprised by what the movie was after I saw it, even though I had seen the trailer. I liked the poster. So I liked. Jasmine Savoy Brown was an actress that I recognized from The Leftovers, the final season. She went season 3, I think was the.
I never finished that show, but it was
season
good.
2. It's a great show.
Season.
It's a fucking phenomenal show, and you should finish it. Much like Watchmen, because the guy who did it, what is his name?
Well,
James.
I like the movie Watchmen and.
The show Watchmen is a quasi sequel to the movie and the comic book. But anyway,
it's a sequel. It's not a retelling.
No, it's like an updated sequel to it. Yeah. So if you watch the original, but anyway, sorry, James. David Lindelof, he made up for fucking up Lost.
Okay.
With his co-writer by doing The Leftovers and Watchmen. So those are two shows that I would say are two of the best shows I've ever seen, ever. Like, they're brilliant shows. Anyway, back to this, but that's where I remember this actress from, and she sort of reminds me of an American version of Missandei, from Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
Missandei, who have Missandei, who I have a fucking enormous crush on, who's a gorgeous woman. This is my type of woman. I don't know. There must be a running theme.
This is your
aesthetic
of
yes.
Women you're attracted
to. A certain type of beauty, yes, because I dated some girls that look like this, and so I'm just like, just for me. And me, since I look so handsome and good looking,
yes.
I'm in shape.
You can pick anyone you want.
The women are running. They're running in droves for me, and I think they're running in droves to push me off a cliff. But anyway, so this film stars Jasmine.
With speakers embedded in you, so it could really pick up the crunch at the end.
Yeah. So we gotta get to that, where the ending sort of reminded me of Saint Maud, but I guess we'll get to that. Okay. So Jasmine Savoy Brown playing Alexis Reeves, and the director's name is Alex, so I guess he's sort of self-inserting himself in this film. I just repeated the same. Lily Simmons as Marie Sotker. I feel like I've seen her before, but I don't know from what. James Jagger is Duke. So this is a film.
Who's Duke? Duke is the guy.
The boyfriend, yeah. A guy who is unnecessarily painted evil for some reason by the main character.
I don't think he was painted.
No, by the main character. She was just jealous. So this is a film that I wanted to like this. I wanted to, because it was so weird. But it was a film that, in the ending, no, I didn't. I do think that it's filled with very creative actors. Very good actors, and it's got
like
good set pieces.
The premise. The premise
is
cool. Like sound villain or something. That's cool.
The visual alone of whenever she has ecstasy from the sound.
He's related to Mick Jagger. That
Is
is
he?
funny.
Oh,
I made that
he was
joke.
good.
Like, oh, is he Mick Jagger's cut? He's
Is
the
he?
son of Mick Jagger. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, good. He was good in this. So I wanted to like this movie a lot. I really did because just from the sell point of it, and I'd never seen something about sound and violence and stuff like that.
Not really. Yeah, Pontypool maybe, and that one with the quiet where you have to be quiet with Jim from The Office. I don't know.
I'm gonna say Keep Quiet. What are the movies called? Stay Quiet. There was a part 2 that came out.
or something.
Right, Quiet Place. So the other movie that I know that had to do with sound, I think, is Barbarian Sound Studios or something like that. A movie that I do want to see. That movie was directed by the guy who did In Fabric. So it's not a horror movie, but it's like a weird movie. So I wanted to see that, and I should have seen that instead of this. But I can't keep away from Jasmine Savoy Brown because she's
Pig.
I'm a pig. I'm disgusting. Anyway,
Pig.
but she's a good She's a good actor. And anyway, so this movie starts out a couple of years in the past. I think 2004 or 2002 it starts out with. Mm-hmm. And this young girl comes home.
She has a great childhood experience.
She comes home with her mother, played by Dana L. Wilson, Mrs. Reeves. And they're with her brother, and they go home, and they're like, "Oh, your father's." They're just intimating that the father came back from war, and he's nuts, and he's the typical Hollywood nuts. Like this motherfucker, they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
They should have kept him in Iraq or something, wherever the fuck he was, because this coming back here, like, and the thing is, like, it's not to belittle anybody who actually went to war and they're fucked up, because I don't blame anyone who's fucked up from going to war.
Fucked up realistically, maybe, but probably.
No, I'm sure people come fucked up, but this is like Hollywood cartoonishly fucked up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They come fucked up, but not like that.
You know what? We shouldn't even comment on it, because I remember we commented about like a character in Nurse. What was that movie that we saw about the woman who was raped and she became a serial killer? No, not Nurse 3D. It was another movie we saw. The girl who cut off the woman's nipples. Remember that movie? It was a stupip movie
American
made by a
Mary
couple
or
too.
something?
That one.
Yeah.
And we were commenting, oh, a rape victim wouldn't act like this. And it's like, you know what? I've never been raped. It's a horrible thing, so I'm not gonna comment on it now, even though we did back then. So that we don't know what that's about, but this is like a cartoon.
You've evolved. I've evolved too.
I'm evolved into Cro-Magnums. That's how high we've gotten. Mm-hmm. But this is a film where like this is like cartoonishly like there's stuff in this movie that it's a little silly.
Like,
so
the writing is good. What am I saying? No, the acting is good. No, I made a mistake. The acting is good. the premise is good. But the execution is not good. Yeah. Right. So it starts out with this family get together because they're trying to have dinner because the father obviously has come back damaged from the war, and they're trying to have a nice night. They don't explain what happened to her, but she had an accident where certain nerves disjointed from her ears. Yeah. So it made her deaf. And disjointed nerves in the ears, the worst of the worst. So later on that night, there's a little conflict with the father, who's like obviously on edge. Like the guy looks like he can go off at any second. It's sort of overacting. Oh, here's a great horror about sound also, which involves a deaf person. It's in Books of Blood. Did you ever read that by Clive Barker? No, they just made a recent film of it, or series of it last year. Well, there's one where there's this guy who had lost his hearing as a kid, and he's friends with this guy who wants to do like social experiments on people, and one of the experiments involves like reminding him of when he was deaf by blocking his ears, and it's cool what happens. Wait, so he got his sound back? Being deaf as a child makes you become a killer. So he was deaf as a kid, but then he got his sound back when he was older. Yeah. Okay. It's interesting. Books of Blood. Okay. So anyway, there's a trauma that happens where the father actually kills the mother. I didn't see the brother in there, so I guess he killed the brother as well? I don't know. Because I know it's like there's parts in this film where you can see the budget come in, or the cheapness of the movie come in. Mm-hmm. Like the part where the father's hacking away at the mother. It's like a cheap. I don't know how to explain how this sounds stupid, but his arm movements in chopping her up Yeah.
It didn't look real. It didn't look real to me. It just sort of was like he looked like
silly.
Right. He looked like it was like an animatronic from a Disney ride or something. Like the way he was chopping at the mother, it just looked strange. And I was like, this is some weird directing of that. Like you can frame it in a way where it doesn't look stupid like that, but it's a nitpick. Anyway, so she kills her father by hitting him over the head with what was it, like a meat tenderizer or something.
Yeah.
She kills him, and then
apparently, I mean, they hinted that he didn't die right away or something.
Right, because he grabs her arm and stuff like that. Yeah. But then this is the first moment where we see her experiencing sound, because for some reason it rejiggered something in her ear canal.
Well, I mean, the doctor always say the cure to deafness is to kill your dad with a meat tenderizer.
Some sort of meat tenderizer. So so we see her outside, and I think they were trying to go the creepy route, where we see her smiling, and then it cuts to titles, and I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, it's a little, like, unsubtle. It's a little too, like...
this is a film where I told you before, I thought... I was like, the first scene, I was like, oh, when because she becomes like a serial killer by killing people. She kills people in the most bizarre... It was the most bizarre way I've seen anybody get killed in a film, honestly.
I remember the one that you said was the silliest. I kind of enjoyed it a little.
No, there's something enjoyable, but I laughed. Like, I literally laughed out loud when I saw it because I thought it was the most absurd thing I'd ever fucking seen. So she's doing all these experiments with her roommate, who she obviously has a very big crush on, Marie Sotker, who's played by Lily Simmons.
I felt like the roommate had the crush on her, but I guess I don't know.
I think she did, but I think she was just trying to... Well, obviously she acts on it towards the end.
Yeah.
I don't think she knew that the other girl was... I don't think Marie knew that Alexis was gay or had gay tendencies or something like that.
Yeah.
So I just think that they were sort of like whatever. They just sort of left it alone. But Alexis is obviously attracted to Lily. Marie, and Marie has a relationship with a guy named Duke and stuff like that, who's not a bad guy, but since Alexis
is related to Mick, so it's okay.
Since you can hate him, you think he like gets up every morning and does that fruity dance with his lips like pursed like his dad?
Skinny jeans on, he's dancing around. I saw Rolling Stones live, and they were great. Actually, I have to say, Mick Jagger is like a great performer.
Oh no, I'm sure of it. Yeah, I'm sure they're fun live.
But he does dress in these like funny tight pants, and he's dancing around. It's like kind of funny, Like
his balls are coming. His balls are coming out of the pant legs and stuff like that. They're so. Stop me, ya paw. Anyway, so the way she kills these people are like in elaborate, weird fashions and stuff like that. And I thought, I was like, this is a comedy, right? Like for the first 10 minutes, like we're all that serious.
When you said that to me, I was like, no, I think they're playing it straight here.
Yeah, because it was like all this melodramatic shit, like with the opening with her killing her dad and then her doing that smile. And I was like, okay, so this movie's trying to be creepy, but it feels like phony. Like there's something about it that feels like doesn't feel realistic at all. And then the parts when like she gets this homeless guy. This girl can't weigh more than 120 pounds, and she drags a homeless guy into some large loft. See, this is the thing. I think that they don't think
the key to super strength is to kill your dad with a meat tenderizer. So I heard.
She gained his powers like the Highlander,
yeah.
But it seems like the director was so preoccupied with the premise and the look of it and the idea of it that he couldn't let reality. And obviously, the movie's more than reality because of the ways that she kills these people. But like this girl is 120 pounds. Danny just saw a link of fantastic photos of her, how much she doesn't weigh, right, Danny? Especially without clothes. And she is like she takes this homeless guy. She puts him in this sort of weird chair that whenever she starts playing her soundboard, it like hits him over the head with a mallet. It stabs him. And I can't tell you how hard I was laughing at that scene.
I've seen stuff like that in art galleries, not with.
Oh, I'm sure it exists. Yeah,
where you press a thing and it makes a thing move. Like what do they call? It's always in Looney Tunes. I can't think the.
I'm sure if
I named a drawing after one. Hold on.
I'm sure if you even go to Rube Goldberg devices.
Yeah, Rube Goldberg machine. Yeah, that's it.
I'm sure if you even like look on kink websites, there's chairs like this that like shove dildos up your ass and vagina at the same time that have chairs like this. But I couldn't tell you how funny I thought that was. Like I just thought it was the funniest thing because it was so fucking stupid. It was just like I can appreciate it.
I thought it was right on the line of stupid funny but also kind of cool.
But it was played. But the thing is, like, if you're watching the guy going, oh, and he's getting killed and stuff like that, and then it cuts to her, and her shots are like serious, like they're very serious visuals, like of her taking in all this shit, and I was like, oh no, because I think like I was like, this is not what the director wanted me to be like. Whoa, that's fucking dope. Because the music too, unfortunately, is not as good as it should be in this movie. Like, the music in here is like the most generic, like shit you would get on YouTube that plays, so you won't get a copyright strike. It's that type of music, and it's just like, oh, they could, if had they gotten a great fucking musician, and I feel bad about saying whoever, because it's hard to make music. It really fucking is, but it felt like this music was not at the level it should have been for a fucking movie called Sound of Violence. You know what I mean?
I did enjoy the one track that she showed her class.
That was great. That was dope. But that's another thing where I had a problem with, because then like anyway, so then she goes and she kills another guy by taping these nodes to his head, and his eyes explode and shit like that. She kills him that way, and I was like, this is a comedy. I was like, okay, this is a comedy movie, but the rest of the movie is not like that. It really isn't like that. And I was like,
very seriously.
I was like, oh, and I can tell you the moment I checked out, honestly, during the film, I still watched the whole film, but when they brought in the police officer, to Tessa Monroe as Sonia Fuentes, so they put in this sub story of a cop, you know, finding all this shit, and the
pointless sub story.
It is, because they have nothing to do with the end of the film. They cause no fucking nothing to do with the story. They solve nothing.
They're just kind of like observing.
They're there to make this into fucking Saw. At least in Saw movies, which are horrible, the cops do stuff. You know what I mean? They figure shit out.
The cops are like directly involved. Yeah.
Right. The cops here have nothing to do with the fucking story. Make them a part of the story if they're gonna be in it. You see how angry I'm getting? Because you bring these characters in for what? For nothing. For that, you could have spent... their running time is what? Maybe 10 minutes throughout the whole movie, these cops?
Right.
Give
probably those... 10 minutes, I would say, yeah.
Give those fucking 10 minutes to either Alexis or Marie. The cops mean nothing in this movie. Or if the cops, like,
prevented the last death or something. That would have been...
Yes.
Okay, now they had
if they would have caused... There was another movie like that I saw called The Voices, which is a bizarre movie. It's a comedy movie, but, like, it's with this guy who plays Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds. It's a really interesting film that I think we would enjoy watching.
When did that come out?
It came out a couple years ago, maybe like 2000. It came out a couple years, 2015, maybe something like that.
For the new
it's
Deadpool
a fucked up. It's a funny movie, but it's fucked up because it's like funny, but when they kill characters that you like, it's like real. It's like serious killing, and you're like, oh boy, this is fucking disturbing. So I think that's what this movie tried to do. But it's so ridiculous. You're just like, what the fuck?
There was no comedy in this movie. There was no...
I know, which made me go, oh no. I was like, uh-oh. Because then there's a part where she... And I think it's just like the guy was thinking of these great set pieces.
To me, the silliest one was the harp.
Yes, that's what I was going to say, right.
What drug was given that she kept doing that, like, against her will? How could you know that would happen from the drug? Right,
because I was like, the director... I think the director thought of these fantastic, set pieces to kill people. Like, it's so genius. And then, like, the part with the harp comes on, you're just like, who cares? Like, she went to a fucking...
She gave her a drug. What did she do? She's like, she goes on, like...
Ecstasy or something?
And she's
right.
And she's like, I want a hallucinogen that makes you keep hurting your fingers against your will.
It was a hallucinogen that only affects harpists.
Yeah.
So this woman is... So she took the time to go to an art show. She created a mechanic on a harp for it to be super bladed, right? So she did all of this shit, right?
Right.
And then she put drugs there, like a fucking like a bad guy out of Rocky and Bullwinkle in front of everybody. This is a full fucking gallery, and she just leans over the background of this woman and pours it in.
That one felt the most like a bad Saw kill.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, Jasmine Savoy Brown has to sell this shit. Like, this actress, this poor actor.
The thing is, she's a good actress.
She's good. She's fantastic. That's the only reason why this movie isn't a complete fuck up. Is the actors.
The friend is a good actress, and that guy Duke is good. And there's really no bad actors in this. Maybe
because they could have
stabbing.
They could have. they could have easily made Duke a piece of shit, and I would give that to the writing. They didn't write him to be a piece of shit character.
Yeah.
And you could just hate him just because you like Alexis' character, but Alexis is such a greedy piece of shit that you're like, oh, fuck her, and I don't get it, because these actors, I can surely say that they took this as a job, because the writing is so fucking stupid in this. Yeah. And like it really like
it could have been fixed too easily. It's just like I really do feel that if you're gonna direct a movie, maybe don't be the one to write it, or have someone else fucking make sure that have
somebody read the fucking script first before you start directing this, because like
it's so such many movies where the guy who wrote it will direct it, and like one of the things is bad. The directing is bad, or the writing. I don't think this was badly directed. Like, I think it was okay. Like, it looks good.
I think that I think it looks good and stuff like that, but there's parts of it where it's just like, because it's a waste of a lot of potential in this film.
Exactly.
Because like the actors are so well cast. Like, even that dickhead, you know, the guy who runs that record store.
Yeah.
And then he comes in,
whose head explodes. Right?
Yeah. Even his scene where he's reciting like the I forget what he was singing, some sort of song.
He's a bad singer too.
Yeah, and he was a scumbag, and you're like, oh, this is good. Like, this is good casting, because that guy felt real. Like, he just felt like a piece of shit.
I think that was meant to be humorous. How he's a bad.
Yeah. Because he's being an asshole. So I thought that was good, but it was just like, it just didn't work, and I feel so bad because there seems to be a lot that should have been good with this film, but it just didn't come together, and it falls directly on the writer-director's shoulders, because and then the ending when they go to the beach, and which should be an interesting visual of this girl who had speakers installed in her body, and she's like and the song wasn't even that good, and she's just walking on the beach, and that reminded me of Saint Maud with a crowd of people just looking at somebody dying on a beach.
Right.
And she's just sort of walking down this beach for no reason. She's just walking straight ahead.
Was a lot better than this, though, I have to say.
Yeah, and Saint Maud wasn't even that fucking great, and well, it looked good. But so this girl, she gets fucked up. Marie is now like part fucking radio or something, and she's walking through the beach. She's walking through the beach to, I don't know where. I thought she was walking towards Alexis, because Alexis apparently is somewhere else. And this is why the cops don't matter, because they don't even catch. I'm sure they will catch Alexis.
I mean, you know she's going to get arrested after, but it's just like, well, they still don't need the cops for that. Like, I don't know.
All they needed was one scene of the cops at all. You know, at the very end when they go to the professor. Yeah. A professor that I recognize from Brian Husky is, like, I guess, a Nickelodeon show or something. But all they needed was that one scene where the girl says, "Oh, I found these wires."
The cops are on the track. Yeah.
Right. So then they can catch her.
He's actually from comedy. He's from adult.
He's in a lot of comedy shows. He's in children's whatever that's called, Bob's Burgers, Veep.
Okay.
He's one of those actors that you see in a lot of shit. But anyway, so it's like she just walks away at the end, because then she becomes deaf again, and she's like crying, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry," and it's just like, I don't care about this woman. Who gives a fuck about her? She's a piece of shit throughout the whole movie. There's nothing about this film where I'm like, because this is like you're watching a film. Essentially, what it is a person who is killing people because they had potential, and when you fuck up that potential with something that's just like, who cares? Because this movie is, how I can relate this movie is a woman who, let's take something else completely different, not Addiction to Sound, a woman who's killing people because she wants meth. That's the same fucking thing this is. Because you're reaching such an ecstasy, you're going to kill people for this drug. That's what this movie is. So you don't feel any fucking, I don't feel bad for her. Sure, what happened to her as a kid is terrible, but she's going to continue that because she wants to see fucking fake fire explosions and shit. Yeah, okay. But it's just like, I felt really like that they fucked it up big time with this movie, especially with the lead actress, who's
I wish I had
really good.
I think I have like very, very, very light synesthesia, but like,
yeah, because you like ASMR and stuff, right?
Yeah, and I wish I could like get off killing people with meat tenderizers, but I just can't. I've tried.
Okay, very good. So I would give this movie probably a 5. 5 out of 10. What happened? You gonna give it lower than that?
No.
I would give it a 5 out of 10. Offering a man a delicious dry cookie to eat, and then having him bashed over the head and stabbed in a giant. I was reminded of the Devil's Chair. So could you please do your line?
Nick, don't go in there. It's suicide.
If you want to see a movie that has an even stupider premise, go watch The Devil's Chair. I actually don't, but
it's very cringy.
So I would give it a 5 out of 10. Forcing a homeless man to eat, not forcing him, but let him eat a cracker or a cookie, and then killing him with a robotic music chair. What rating would you give?
I give this
Sound of Violence 2021.
6.5. A 6.5 out of 10. Somehow predicting that this roofie you put in someone's drink would cause them to play a razor harp until they bleed very badly and almost die, and knowing that nobody would stop her.
So what, did the drug almost kill her, or bleeding from the fingers almost kill her?
Who the
With that, Danny, what's the final word?
You are the key to my heart.
The HorrorDeconstruction.